Northern Britain, the year is 71 AD. A Roman army is marching north through cold, unfamiliar land. 5,500 legionaries of the Ninth Legion. They have been ordered to subdue the most powerful tribe in the north, the Brigantes, and they need somewhere to build. When they reach the confluence of two rivers, the Ouse and the Fosse, they stop. This is the place where you see the medieval city of York today, the minster, the shambles, the ancient walls. There was nothing, just open land between two rivers and the sky. What the Romans built here starting in the summer of 71 AD is still beneath your feet, literally. The foundations of Rome's northern command center lie directly under the floor of York Minster. 2,000 years of city built on top of one decision made on a riverbank. The Romans do not choose this site by accident. The river Ouse is navigable all the way from the North Sea, meaning supply ships can reach the fortress directly from the coast. The ridge above the floodplain gives natural defensive height. Two rivers form a natural moat on two sides, and it places the legion directly between the hostile Brigantes to the north and west, and the more controlled south. The general in command is Quintus Petilius Cerialis. He will build his fortress here in 50 acres of this flat ground. He has one campaigning season to do it. Roman legionaries are not just soldiers. They are the finest construction workforce in the ancient world. Every man carries entrenching tools. Within days of arriving, the Ninth Legion begins cutting turf and felling timber. The first Eboracum is not stone, it is earth and wood. Turf ramparts on a green timber foundation, 50 acres enclosed in a rectangular defensive wall with rounded corners. The shape is standard Roman military design. It could be anywhere in the empire, but it is here, on the edge of the known world, in the rain. Inside the ramparts, timber buildings go up in a perfectly ordered grid, barracks for 80 men each, granaries raised on stilts to keep grain dry and rat-proof, a hospital, workshops, and at the very center, the principia, the headquarters. This is the beating heart of the fortress, and it is where everything happens. Orders issued, pay distributed, justice administered, gods honored. Even in timber, it is the most important building on the site. Later, it will be rebuilt in stone, and that stone version will outlast everything else. 36 years after the first turf rampart is cut, the order comes to rebuild Eboracum in stone. The year is 107 AD. The Ninth Legion, the builders of the original fortress, carries out the Reconstruction. Magnesian limestone is quarried at Tadcaster, 14 miles to the southwest, and transported by barge up the river wharf. Millstone grit comes from quarries near Wetherby. The Principia alone will take years. Its basilica hall, the great aisled chamber at its heart, will stand 23 meters tall, almost as high as the nave of York Minster, which will be built directly on top of it 11 centuries later. At the fortress site, the Principia rises. Roman military construction uses the same methods that built the Colosseum and the Pantheon: systematic, precise, and fast. A workforce of legionaries and specialist craftsmen lays course after course of limestone. The walls reach 4 meters, then 8. 16 massive columns are cut and erected to support the basilica's nave, each column drum made from Magnesian limestone, each one weighing several tons. The completed column you can still see outside York Minster today is 9.5 meters tall. It is one of the original 16. The basilica attached to the Principia is 68 meters long, 32 meters wide and possibly 23 meters tall. To put that in perspective, it is the largest roofed interior in northern Britain. Nothing above Londinium comes close. At one end stands the tribunal, a raised stone podium where the commanding legate addresses the assembled legion. Behind it, in a locked and guarded room, sits the fortress treasury, and at the very heart of the building, the Aedes, the legionary shrine, where the eagle standard of the 9th Legion is kept. No ordinary soldier enters without permission. To enter uninvited is a capital offense. Where you see York Minster today, the great Gothic cathedral, the largest medieval church in northern Europe, the Roman Principia once stood. The minster was not built near the fortress headquarters. It was built directly on top of it. Go down into the minster's undercroft today, and you can walk along the Roman floor level. You can touch the actual limestone walls of Eboracum. The column that held the basilica roof still stands in the yard just outside the south door. 1900 years old, still in one piece. The 5,000 men of the 9th Legion do not just fight. They live here for years at a time. 8 men share each barrack room, sleeping on wooden cots, storing their equipment in locked chests. They eat together in messes, grain-based porridge, bread, salt pork, lentils, and whatever local food the markets outside supply. They are paid 3 times a year in silver denarii, with compulsory deductions for food, equipment, and the regimental burial fund. Few are from Britain. Archaeological evidence from Eboracum shows soldiers from Spain, North Africa, the Balkans, and the Middle East. Rome's army is, by design, international. Every Roman fortress has a bathhouse, and Eboracum's is no exception. It occupies the southern corner of the fortress. For the legionary, the bathhouse is not merely for washing. It is the social center of the day. After training or duty, soldiers move through the cold room, the warm room, and the caldarium, the hot steam room, scraping oil and sweat from their skin with a curved iron strigil, tiles stamped with the legion's mark. Legionam Hispana have been found at the bathhouse site. Part of the caldarium still survives beneath a pub in St. Sampson's Square in York today. You can go and see it. Outside the fortress walls, a civilian town grows, organically, hungrily, drawn by 5,000 men with regular pay. Merchants selling wine from Gaul and olive oil from Spain set up stalls. Potters, ironmongers, cobblers, and bath oil sellers cluster along the roads that radiate from the fortress gates. Families of soldiers, who are technically forbidden from marrying during service but do so informally anyway, settle on the south bank of the Ouse. The civilian population eventually reaches perhaps 5,000. A city grows in the shadow of the walls. Evidence of the cult of the Egyptian goddess Isis has been found here, and of Mithras, the Persian bull slayer. Eboracum's streets are as cosmopolitan as any in the empire. Where you walk the shambles today, York's famous medieval street, one of the best preserved medieval streets in Europe. Roman merchants once sold wine and olive oil. The street line itself may follow a Roman predecessor. York has been a commercial city continuously for nearly 2,000 years. The faces have changed, the language has changed, but the idea of a market street outside a walled settlement, that has not changed at all. Here's the fact that most visitors to York never know. On the 25th of July, 306 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantius I died in Eboracum. His son was at his side, the 6th Legion, who had replaced the 9th as the fortress garrison, immediately acclaimed that son as the new emperor. His name was Constantine. He would become Constantine the Great, the first Christian emperor of Rome, the man who legalized Christianity across the entire empire, the man whose decisions shaped Western civilization for the next 1500 years. And his story begins here, in York, in the Principia, under what is now the floor of York Minster. By the early 5th century, Rome is under unbearable pressure. The legions are being stripped from the provinces to defend Italy itself. Around 410 AD, the same year Rome is sacked by the Visigoths. The last Roman soldiers leave Eboracum. They march out of the fortress gate and do not return. The civilians left behind do not immediately abandon the fortress. Evidence suggests some occupation continues for decades, but the heating systems fail, the roads crack, the drains block. The stone buildings, without maintenance, begin to decay. In the northern British reign, Rome's greatest northern fortress slowly returns to the earth. The fortress does not disappear overnight. It decays over centuries. Roofs collapse. Walls are robbed for building stone by the next wave of settlers. The Angles, then the Vikings, then the Normans. Each generation builds on top of the last. And by the time York Minster is built in the 13th century, the Roman Principia is not gone. It is simply buried, 5 meters below the modern street level, perfectly preserved in the cold northern soil, waiting. In the late 1960s, York Minster's central tower begins to crack. Surveys reveal that the 16,000-ton tower is sinking into the ground. An emergency engineering project begins to excavate beneath the minster and reinforce its foundations. While engineers work by day, archaeologists work by night, carefully removing everything they find before it is disturbed. What they find stuns them. Directly beneath the minster floor, the intact walls, floors, and columns of the Roman Principia. The walls of Eboracum's headquarters building are standing. In places, the plaster is still on them. The basilica's column, almost complete, is found, lying where it fell, probably in the Viking Age, 900 years underground. Perfect. In 1972, to mark the 1900th anniversary of Eboracum's founding, the column is reassembled and re-erected in Minster Yard. Outside the south door of the cathedral, in the open air, 8 cylindrical drums of original Magnesian limestone stacked on a modern concrete plinth, 9.5 meters tall, one of 16 that once held up the greatest hall in Roman northern Britain. It stands there now. If you are going to York, walk to the south door of the minster. Look right. There it is. 1900 years old, still standing. Every city is a set of decisions layered on top of each other across time. York is a Roman strategic decision. A general chose this riverbank in 71 AD because of geography, and everything that followed flowed from that choice. The Angles, the Vikings, the Normans, the medieval merchants, all of them built on Rome's foundations, literally. The streets of modern York trace routes the 9th Legion surveyed. The walls of the city follow the Roman fortress walls. Go down into the minster's undercroft, and you can stand on the actual Roman floor and look up to where the basilica ceiling would have been, 23 meters above your head. The city is not built over its history. The city is its history. It just runs underground. If this video changed how you think about a city you thought you knew, That's what we're here for. Drop a comment telling us which city or fortress you'd like us to travel to next. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring the cities buried beneath the cities we think we know. Like this, if it earned it. As always, we'll see you in the past.